try to fix his problems, even in the afterlife. Auto repair shop owner named Marcos Garcia explains that while watching the garage cameras, he sees his employee Juan talking to someone.
Estoy revisando por la cámara del taller y este maestro está hablando solo. Le voy a preguntar por cámara qué está haciendo. ¿Aló? Oye, disculpa, pero ¿con quién estás hablando?
Juan explains he was talking to a customer about fixing a car that was in a recent accident.
¿Tú me estás hablando del accidente de anoche? Juan, me estáis hueveando, ¿cierto?
Marcos is in total shock when Juan describes talking to a man named Carlos. Knowing no one's there, Marcos insists he comes upstairs so he can show him the footage.
Juan, no estás con nadie, sube y ven a ver las cámaras, tengo todo grabado.
Marcos explains to him a man named Carlos had lost his life due to a traffic accident just last night in that same vehicle.
No estás hablando con nadie, Juan, y ayer los que chocaron murieron todos.
He was working the night shift when this happened. Tim from Tim Saver explains he's approaching the end of his shift. While he was doing his final rounds, he begins to hear scratching sounds coming from the containers. And as he approaches the area, this happens. He hears noises inside, but still decides to investigate whatever made that noise. He hears an extremely loud noise coming from the container, so he checks it out. Hearing scratching noises, Tim just closes the container and walks away. He was home alone one night when he sees this. A tattoo artist uploaded a disturbing video where he explains this was the reason why he had to move out. You can see what looks like someone or something watching him with glowing eyes. Whatever this is enough reason to make anyone move overnight. This is why you should stay away from cemeteries at night.
I don't know if that's a person.
Franco TV revisited a cemetery in Peru where he had previously heard a woman laughing while in front of a famous witch's grave.
Isn't it?
Later in the evening, he's exploring a dark hall and hears this.
Moving wreck. What the hell was that?
Frank hears someone whistling coming from the hall. Curious to see the source of the sound, Frank finds what looks like a person standing in the dark. And as he's making his way out, he decides to further investigate and goes back to where he saw that person. A ball seemingly appears out of nowhere and rolls towards him. Then, he hears whistling again, but doesn't find anything. You stay in this house. A man named Lucas and his friend were home one day when they begin to see things moving around the house and lights turning on their own. Now, they begin to hear footsteps in the guest bedroom upstairs, so they decide to take a look who may be up there. Even their cat seems to react to whatever was inside that room. Lucas decides to put a camera to capture whatever that was. Whatever's causing this seems to be living in that crawl space. So the question is, warning, be very careful if you're working one of these jobs. Christine, a 38-year-old mother of 4 living in Pittsburgh, was doing Uber on February 10th of 2022. 22-year-old Calvin Crew used his girlfriend's phone to order an Uber, which Christine accepted.
How are you today?
He uses a mask and hoodie to cover his face. He looks around to see if it's clear to make his move and pulls a gun on Christine.
What are you doing?
This is a gun. Keep driving.
No, it's not. Stop. Come on, man. I got a family. What are you
I got
doing?
a family too. Now drive.
He orders her to cancel the ride so it can't be tracked. Held hostage, Christine is forced to drive for an hour while Calvin took her phone and deposited all her money onto his girlfriend's account. He then tells her everything will be okay if she listens, but that would be a lie. 2 days later, Christine's body was found in the woods by an Amazon driver, 50 feet off the road with a gunshot wound in the head. Prosecutors are seeking death penalty for Calvin. He was working the night shift when this happened. An overnight security guard at a supermarket kept hearing things during his route. So one night, he decided to record his walks, and this happened. The toys seem to be turning on their own, and he just gets out of there. This is the reason why most people don't want to work the night shift. A Reddit user uploaded a disturbing video where his father's working the night shift, and as he's looking over the security cameras, he sees something walk by the building that looks like it came out of a nightmare. You can see two distorted figures walking by. People pointed out one of them seems to be walking on all fours, yet resembling a human face. Could it be that a supernatural being such as a jinn or a skinwalker was captured on that security camera? Or is it just a glitch? If your dog starts acting like this, it may be warning you of an evil presence. A woman named Milena explains her dog has never acted like this before.
What do you see? Oh my god.
You can see the fur on its back stand up, as if it's being threatened by something.
Girl, you get me scared.
Was Milena's dog warning her of a malevolent spirit in the room? Or is it just something else? She kept waking up to strange noises at 4 a.m. and this is what she found. A couple began recording their recent hauntings after a horrifying encounter with a strange shadow figure. One night, while alone in the house, she begins to hear the same strange noises that had been haunting them.
Hola, gente. Otra vez el ruido ese. Todavía se escucha un ruido de abajo.
When she goes to check, what she finds is terrifying.
Ay, la concha, no logra ver algo ahí. Sora. Sora, subí. Ay, no, Dios santo. Nera.
She didn't notice, but what looks like hands can be seen waiting for her downstairs. If you hear your dog like this, be very careful.
Nala!
YouTube user Hoopla uploaded a disturbing video where he explains he left his dog Nala in his room for only a couple minutes to use the restroom.
Nala!
He thought it was his friend Derek that snuck in to pull a prank on him, so he decided to record the event.
Derek?
Looking for Nala, he hears something in the kitchen, but nothing's there.
Nala, where'd you go, princess? Nala?
He finds Nala hiding in the dark, shaking and completely irresponsive. He hears more movement in the kitchen, and as he's getting his dog Nala to leave the house, this happens.
Nala, we're leaving, let's go!
He explains Nala was traumatized with shakes, but after a few days she recovered. What Nala saw in his room that scared her to her core remains a mystery. This is why you always lock your doors. Will from Will Whereabouts was camping in the middle of the woods in Box Hill, UK, when suddenly, late at night, he's awoken by what sounds like human voices.
I don't think I'm going to be getting much sleep tonight.
Will explains he was all alone in that site, so what exactly made those sounds? If you hear a ghost or spirit messing with a door, whatever you do, don't open it. Here's why. A man named Bruce dedicated a YouTube channel to record memories with his kids. But one night, he was woken up by noises coming from downstairs. He finds a doorknob to a closet moving aggressively as if someone's inside, but when he opens the door, no one seems to be there. Confused on what just happened, he goes back to bed and ignores it. But one night while playing with his son, whatever was inside that closet came back. Whoa! By opening that door, did he allow this entity into his home? Or is it something else? He was resting peacefully when this happened. A man was sound asleep in the hospital Felix Bulnes in Chile when something mysteriously pulls him off the bed. The hospital is known by many people for being haunted, and user Paranormal Carlo Martinez decides to investigate and captures this. He hears voices, then at the end of the hall he sees something fly out an open window and closes it. Is this hospital truly haunted, or is there another explanation for these events? He was with his dogs watching TV when he realized someone else was in the house. User Ghost Rocky explains these events began to occur more regularly when he was in his room and saw his door open on its own, but then he decided to provoke whatever did it. One night in the living room, he's watching TV with his dogs when this happens.
Oh putain!
This is why you always lock your doors.
Get out of here!
On July 31st, 2022, user Georgia Ramirez was arriving home one night with her son when her Ring doorbell camera captured something horrifying.
Go shower really fast. I need you to go shower.
A man was following them home and attempts to open the door with a sinister look in his eyes.
Who's that? Who is that? Get out of here!
He can also be seen hiding something behind him.
Get out of here! There's a guy outside. Look.
The police was called and the man was left alone after his family explains he just has mental problems and poses no harm to Jojo and her son. It's left to wonder, would things turn out the same way if the door was left open for a little bit longer? I'll let you decide. He was alone one night and heard someone walking upstairs. Then this happened. A Reddit user was showing off his new additions to his fish tank when he noticed something ominous around the corner.
If you guys have any suggestions for names that... What the f... What the f...
He sees a hand that seems to move right when he noticed it. He says he lives alone and he isn't quite sure what could have done this. On another night, that's when things take a darker turn. He hears footsteps, so he decides to investigate, and this happens.
I heard a couple of sort of banging. Sometimes it sounds like footsteps. Yeah, I just thought I'd record to just try and like catch any... Fucking hell, man.
He should have stayed far away from this place, but after going back, this happens. Chris from Urbix Hill decided to re-explore a mysterious abandoned factory alone. Previously, he captured many horrifying, inexplicable events, and was even attacked by a white figure that caused him to throw up when it exited his body. Now, while exploring the location again, he captures voices.
It's a weird noise in this room.
the same white figure as before, and things moving on their own.
What the hell is that?
But the most horrifying of all is when Chris sits down to take a break, this happens. You can hear something approaching him. Then a mysterious invisible force pushes Chris. After being knocked out unconscious for about 10 minutes, he wakes up and gets out of there. He thought his wife's spirit was visiting him, but he realized that wasn't her. A man explains he's been hearing footsteps and voices coming from the hallway. Ever since his wife passed away, he believes her spirit may have been trying to contact him. One night, he's woken by the attic door, slamming shut on its own. Unable to sleep, he begins to hear footsteps and voices coming from the hallway.
It sounds like it's down at the end of the hallway. Right back there. Their face was right here. That's not why.
He describes feeling the presence of a tall man behind him and hearing many voices saying, "Help me." After this event, he experienced seeing shadow figures by his bedroom and seeing distorted faces with inexplicable sounds. Due to the lack of sleep, he developed serious health problems that caused him to move out and sell his house. He was showing off his Halloween decorations when he got the feeling he was being watched.
Bobby, is that you?
User Sheldell Bell uploaded a creepy video where he showed off his Halloween decorations. The creepiest thing he said was the church next door. As he looks over, he sees two figures watching him. In the video, he brushes it off as a prank, but when he keeps staring at them, this happens.
What the fuck, man? Come on, get the house, man. Get the house. Go. No, just stay in your room.
Was he really being stalked by these two occultists, or is it just an elaborate prank video? This diver found a giant helmet in the bottom of the Indian Ocean by Madagascar. Although we can clearly see this giant gladiator helmet, for some mysterious reason, this event is nowhere to be found online. There was a discovery in Madagascar of a megafauna, where 10-foot tall elephant birds and giant predators lived there over 1,000 years ago. So could this really be the helmet of a giant, or is it just faked? A night guard was patrolling the area alone, and he swears he was talking to an old lady. Luisel Alvarez uploaded a video taken from a security camera where a man can be seen waving to someone in the dark. He sees someone we can't see. He goes over to open the door for what he would later describe as a lost old lady. While conversing with the old lady, he waits for the elevator, and this happens. He runs off the building after the horrifying realization. Some people believe the devil was paying him a visit, but without any more information, we can only assume. Two workers were closing the night when this happened.
Are over here.
While they're hiding in the back, waiting for all the unexplained activity to end, it follows them.
So we need to like, it's so dark because all the light switches are over here.
Stop it! Stop!
Something was thrown at Nick, and they get out, but after only a few seconds, they see this.
What we're dealing with.
Oh my god, yo, what the fuck? Bro, Nick, did you fucking do this on purpose?
I-
You fucking fake this? No, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, Nick!
Stop! You're literally. Are you?
No, wait, no. Nah.
Is Nick's store haunted, or is it something else? She was alone in her house when she heard someone crying downstairs. Tatiana and her boyfriend Gabriel lived fairly normal lives in Canada. But one night, while Tatiana was alone in the house, she began to hear voices downstairs.
Not gonna go. It sounds like it's coming from our room, Gabe.
As she got closer to the source of the sound, you can hear what sounds like a man crying coming from her bedroom.
Please, Gabe. Please come home.
freaked out, she goes upstairs and calls Gabriel. But when he arrives and searches the house, no one's there. A terminally ill grandmother began to behave a bit strange.
Can you see this little...
A 96-year-old woman named Tonti was telling her son she could see someone standing by her bedside.
What is amazing, Mom?
Can you see this little pink girl here?
The pink girl?
No. You can't.
No, I can't see the pink girl. Is she Chinese or Oriental?
Chinese.
Pardon me?
Chinese or...
Chinese?
Party toiler. Parter.
They're having a party? Who's having the birthday party?
Oh, I don't know.
Many people that had near-death experiences have reported seeing deceased relatives, but according to them, it's not a frightening experience, but a peaceful one. He was haunted by something that mimicked his voice. Giovanni and his girlfriend Laura lived fairly normal lives in Brazil, until one night they were woken by something outside their room mimicking Laura's voice.
Oh my God.
After this event, a few months went by with no activity from whatever this thing is. But one night, while Laura was away with family, whatever was tormenting them back then had come back and now began mimicking Giovanni's voice. He hears himself coming from a hallway, the same hallway where he was chased by an unknown force. Whatever's luring him seems to notice the absence of Laura and continuously calls her name. But when he gets closer, the voice is now coming from a room behind him, and a door opens up on its own. But no one's there. This man was haunted by a demon that mimicked his grandmother.
Oh!
A father and his daughters inherited his grandmother's house after her recent passing. Immediately as they move in, they notice all her belongings were left untouched. One night, Alex hears a chair being dragged coming from upstairs. When he goes to check, this happens. A face can be seen watching him from a dark room. Alex says that face is his grandmother's. A few nights later, things get worse.
This is not what I signed up for when I got this house. Oh, shit! Fuck! Come on.
Alex sees what looks like his grandmother, but when he goes to check, there's no one there. Are you guys ready for another pandemic lockdown? Because I'm not. Okay, so new virus. No, not that Transformers of COVID named Omicron. Monkeypox. I'll fill you in as quick as possible in regards to this new monkeypox virus. The virus is a less deadly cousin of the smallpox, initially transmitted from animal to human, kind of like rabies. It can also be spread through 3 different ways so far. Human-to-human contact with an infected area, contact with infected body fluids, and sleeping on the same bedding that an infected person used. It's not airborne, thank God. Symptoms are fever, headaches, muscle aches, respiratory symptoms, and blisters. So it started in 1958 from research monkeys in Africa, but it first made its way to the US in 2003. A family had a prairie dog from Ghana, but the family was quarantined properly. Now May of 2022, some dude is suspected of bringing it to the UK and starting a new spread to the US. So the question is, these two guys were driving along the outskirts of Montana when this happened.
Buddy! How you doing? Just some cruisers, man.
You can see a strange shirtless guy starts crawling up towards them.
That's crazy shit. Just crawling at me like a goddamn... What's up, dude?
The two guys were creeped out from this strange encounter, and they decided to leave before it got to them. What was he doing there, just waiting outside the woods? He was camping in an abandoned tunnel when this happened. On May of 2019, Mr. Omega and his dog were on their way to do an overnight challenge for a video. The location they chose was of an abandoned tunnel, eerily named by the locals, the Railway to Nowhere. As Mr. Omega and his dog get comfortable and ready to sleep, they begin to hear something coming from deep inside the tunnel. He finds a toy playing a happy birthday song, and as he's looking around to see who did this,
Hello?
he finds is horrifying.
What is that? Oh! Max! Hurry up! Max! Max! Get me out!
A man can be seen inside the crevice of the tunnel, watching them. What makes this even creepier is that this tunnel is located in the middle of nowhere. So whatever or whoever did this purposely lured them there. This is why you never provoke spirits. An overnight cleaning lady kept hearing things during her shifts, but when she told her friends, they wouldn't believe her. So one night before her shift, her friends dared her to record herself provoking these entities of the house. She would dearly regret this, since that house would end up being one of the most haunted houses in the world. Take a look.
What? Right, I'm coming out, wherever you are. This isn't funny no more. This is not funny! Off. Right, I've just shut door. Bed, I'm gonna sit on the bed. I daren't move. Oh! Oh! I want to go down. I'm just gonna ask the little girl that's in the little bedroom. Emma, I'm sorry for shouting, sweet. Will you open the door for me, please? I have just seen something. Right, that's it, I'm off down, I can't take no more.
This man wanted to capture whatever was haunting his apartment. What he sees will haunt him forever. Take a look. This YouTuber died 5 days after saying he wasn't dead. A Norwegian YouTuber named Apetor Eckhoff on his 57-year-old birthday announced to his fans that he wasn't dead. He was a cancer survivor and pledged to enjoy his life traveling and drinking vodka. On November 25th of 2021, his wife filmed them swimming in an ice lake. But Apetor had been swimming inside this lake for way too long. So he had to be rescued by divers, transported to the hospital via helicopter. A day later, Apetor would pass away from his injuries. A man woke up to a Ring doorbell notification on his front door. This is what was waiting for him outside. This is why you don't follow the voices. On August of 2021, Isaiah and his cousin were out hiking in Casper Mountain, Wyoming. And unfortunately for the two, they weren't able to make it before nighttime. As the boys were crossing a bridge, they heard eerie noises coming from underneath it. What they capture is nightmare fuel.
There's something under there. Dude, please don't go down there. Oh my gosh. Dude, hold on. Let me go first.
You can see a pale-looking figure running out from underneath the bridge. Creepy things caught on Ring door cameras. On December of 2020, a Redditor posted a video explaining his experience with a creepy visitor late one night. You can see a woman ringing the doorbell with her mouth wide open in a disturbing manner. The homeowner says he doesn't recognize this woman, so why was she there so late at night in a stranger's house? This is why you should stay away from haunted places. Two friends were trying to enjoy their day off together. They really enjoyed fishing, so they decided that's what they were going to do for the day. They wanted to fish in a brand new area to see what kind of fish they catch. One of the guys recalls a bridge nearby, and he was told to stay away from it, but he doesn't know why. But they decided to go there anyway. As he begins to fish, they would encounter something horrifying. Some people say she was drowned in these waters, and her vengeful spirit now haunts this bridge. These two guys broke into a haunted school. This is what happened to them. From unknown sources, two guys record themselves heading towards an abandoned school that's allegedly haunted. As they get closer, you can see the entrance is blocked off by no entry tape. Yet they still decide to go inside. The two friends would dearly regret this decision.
いや、知らんねえ。俺は知るわけねえんだろ。工事なんてやったことねえよ。
This girl felt like someone was watching her sleep at night. She wasn't wrong. A TikTok user by the name Amanda Angelo was having a sleepover with her sister. She had been sleepwalking, and creepy enough, she just stood there and stared at her.
Stop staring at me like that. Alexis! Yo, you're starting to freak me the f*** out. Mom! 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 Get the fuck away from me. Stop! Why are you crying? Hello? Lexi? Mom! She's just standing here staring at me. It's crazy.
Max. Hey. Come on, go lay down.
This is why you always lock your doors.
Get out!
A 25-year-old TikToker named Hannah Viverette was making a video in her apartment, when suddenly a man had climbed up to her balcony, and this is what happened next.
Alexa! Off. Who are you? Who are you? Please get off. Please get out. No, please get out. Yes. Who are you? Please get out of my apartment right now. Please get out of my apartment right now. Get out. Get out. Hello? Please come in.
She would immediately recognize the man. She had seen him lurking around her apartment complex before. 36-year-old Angel Rodriguez Gomez was charged with burglary, assault, and stalking. He was about to go live on TV when this happened. In 2013, a news reporter was getting ready to go live on TV when an elderly man walked past them. They greet each other and he continues walking along. But then you can see the news reporter looking at him as he recognizes him from somewhere. It turns out that old man that walked by was the same person that they were about to file a missing persons report live on TV.
Been looking for you for a while. You heard or anything?
He had memory problems and wandered into the woods at night, but somehow managed to find his way back. A man moved into a haunted house and met his demon face to face. On December of 2009, Peter from the YouTube channel Peter Jan TV moved into a haunted house. Only 2 weeks in, he kept hearing noises coming from a dark hall downstairs. When he went to check and turned on the light, it stopped. So he went back to his room, turning all lights off behind him. This is where Peter hears something coming up the stairs towards him. Peter begins to record in front of whatever came up those stairs. A shoe is thrown at him. Terrified, he slowly approaches it, but nothing was there. A man in Japan was making his way home on his bicycle when his GoPro captured something horrifying. Is this the spirit of a woman who died in a tragic road accident? Why did she follow this man home? This paranormal investigator went to explore an abandoned school. This is what happened that night. On October of 2021, a paranormal investigator in China went to explore a haunted school to see if the rumors of this place were true. As she enters the building late at night, she encounters a few things moving around, but she still continues. Deep in the school, she sees the figure at the end of a dark hall, poking out of the corner, watching her. She remains in shock until she is finally able to move and run out of the school. When you see it. A group of friends in South Korea decided to get together and eat one day after work. They decided they would record the moment, and in doing so, they captured a horrifying apparition. Is this a restless spirit of a woman that had passed away in that house? Or is it just a hoax? Creepy, unexplained sounds, part 10. The voices at night. Late at night, a man was walking through a dark alley next to an abandoned old medical center. And this is where he would hear ominous screams coming from inside the building. The medical center used to take care of many patients in poor neighborhoods that suffer from leprosy and other diseases. So it's a place with a dark past, since many patients there would experience a slow and agonizing death. If your dog starts barking like this, he may be warning you of ghosts or demons watching you. A woman moved into an apartment complex somewhere in England. She lived on the second floor, and below her lived alone a frail elderly woman. One night she felt a bang underneath her floor, but she didn't think much of it. After a few days, the elderly woman's body was discovered. She had died from a stroke, and that loud bang she heard underneath the floor that night was her collapsing from the bed. After this, paranormal things began to happen around the building. One night, her dog was terrified, barking at the doorway of their bedroom. Feeling uneasy, she decided to record this event.
Looking at stuff popping out right along here. I hope, oh my god, I hope you can see this.
This man went to a graveyard at night and forgot to lock his car. This is what happened that night. On August of 2021, David and Dell from the YouTube channel Signs and Signals went to explore the Zion Presbyterian Church Cemetery in South Carolina. The graveyard was founded in 1851 and was located isolated within the woods. As David talks about his encounter with a strange man in this cemetery, they unknowingly record someone or something crawling into their vehicle. David and Dell did not notice this. So when they were done recording in the cemetery, they hopped on the car and drove back home. David says the next morning he found the back of his car was open, but nothing was missing. David expresses he is terrified to know whatever was in the car with him that night now knows where he lives. This thing was captured in Loch Ness. In 2014, Mark Hayes recorded an absurdly large creature in the famous Loch Ness Monster Lake. You can see a massive creature emerging from the lake and swimming near the surface. Is this the Loch Ness Monster many people share their stories of? Some people mention a recent abundance of eel DNA that was found in that water. So therefore, maybe this is just a gigantic eel. But personally, I wouldn't want to find out. If you're messing with ghosts and suddenly you start to feel nauseous, it may be trying to possess you. Let me explain. Chris from Urbix Hill had a very ominous experience during one of his recent explorations. He visited an old haunted factory that was built on 1916 and abandoned for unknown reasons. Chris sets up an infrared camera at the corner of the room, and what he records here is terrifying. He first hears a loud bang coming from a dark, empty room.
Did you hear that?
And as he's checking out the noise, you can see a pale-looking figure entering Chris's body. Chris immediately turns around as he feels whatever that was behind him. Another figure pops up on the left door frame and just watches Chris. Chris, not knowing what's going on, continues exploring, but he immediately feels very nauseous. As Chris is forced to puke, you can see the same pale figure from before exit his body. Feeling sick, Chris decides to leave. I'm pretty sure you heard this before. You hear someone call your name, yet you're all alone. But what if you managed to record that event? Well, that's exactly what happened in this video to Christine Wright. She was filming a video at a creepy old cemetery located in Portland, England. Built back in 1475, many of the tombs have creepy skull symbols that will creep out any visitors. Alone in this cemetery, Christine begins talking to the camera when suddenly this happens.
Completely out of the way, so nobody... Oh, hello. Oh. What?
Christine is startled by the voice of a woman coming from behind her, saying hello.
Nobody... Oh, hello. Oh.
She thought she had been hearing things that were not there, like the rest of us, until she reviewed the footage. This man was filming a ghost town in Japan, and you won't believe what he captured. Takushi from Takushi Camera went to explore the Shirwa village in Japan. The place has been abandoned for over 28 years and is now considered a ghost town. Creepy enough, the former residents were buried between houses. As Takushi explores this unnerving place, he feels an odd sensation in one of the houses. He places a thermal camera to potentially capture the heat patterns of anything that might be hiding in the shadows. After some time had passed, Takushi pulls up his phone to look at his camera, and he cannot believe his eyes. The camera's detecting the heat patterns of someone standing across the room. Takushi attempts to capture an up-close picture of this thing. In doing so, this happens. Takushi left the village after this event. This is why you don't take creepy dolls from anyone. One afternoon, a man went to his basement to cut a piece of wood in his workshop. In the basement, Jamie's wife Katie kept a collection of antique dolls that her aunt had left behind. And ever since they took those dolls, strange things started happening in the house. As Jamie's leaving the basement, he's stopped by something odd. Mysteriously, the doll chair leans back as if something's holding it there. Jamie carefully inspects the area in disbelief of what he sees. Suddenly, the chair swings upright and scares Jamie. He went to explore a haunted mansion when suddenly something started to follow him.
I hear something outside.
Late one night, Frank from Franco TV was exploring an abandoned mansion that was located in the outskirts of Peru. He looked into the history of this house and found out that a man had killed his own family due to an obsession with black magic. As Frank explores the mansion, it starts to get dark and he begins to hear strange noises coming from outside.
I just heard something yelling outside. Hello? ¿Quién es? There it goes again. Whatever it was that was outside came back.
Frank was able to make it out fine. He says he has no idea who or what was making those sounds.